What's up, Believe Nation? Welcome to another YouTube interview. I'm super excited to be here with a new friend of mine, Mr. David Bach. You may recognize the name. He is a 9 times New York Times bestselling author. He has over 7 million books in print, and he's considered one of the most respected experts on all financial matters in America. He's going to chat with us for the next half an hour. David, welcome aboard, man.
Buddy, it's good to be with you. And like I said, hey, we're wearing matching hoodies here. So we're instantly soul connected.
This is the hoodie tribe. I like it.
This is the real me. This is what I'm wearing on a normal day when I'm not going to a television studio.
Well, this is the real me too. I like it. I like it. Authenticity is super important on YouTube. A lot of people know your name. They've read your books. They've been to your events. For the people who aren't familiar with you yet, and this is their first introduction, what is the mission? Like, what are you trying to accomplish? You've been doing this for a long time. You've had a huge impact. What are you trying to do out there?
Yeah, well, I've spent 25 years really being a teacher when it comes to the concept of money. I've been teaching classes on personal finance since 1993, and one of the first classes I ever taught was a class on women and money. And the story behind that is I learned about money from my grandma Rose Bach. My first book, Smart Women Finish Rich, was dedicated to her. She was broke at 30, living paycheck to paycheck. And she turned her whole life around by learning about money and investing, and became a millionaire, and then really taught my family how to do this. So when I came into the investment business at a relatively young age, in my 20s, I saw a lot of women, unlike my grandmother, who were being hurt financially by divorce and by widowhood and by a lack of knowledge around money. And so at a really young age, in my 20s, I just became very passionate about teaching classes on women and money. And that's what really started my career. I taught a course in Lafayette, California for women and money. And I've basically been doing the same thing now since 1993. I've just had a chance to do it on bigger and bigger stages and bigger venues. But, I'm doing, in essence, the same thing for 25 years because I still just love it. I love when people have that, what I call the aha moment, where you're speaking on stage, right now, like right now it's over video, but where you realize that the person gets it and they're going to change their life because you said something that really flipped the switch. I love being an activator. Everything I've tried to do in my whole life is about action. I always say, financial education without you taking action is just entertainment. And so like being here with you right now over the next 30 minutes, I hope to inspire, educate, but activate people to take action. Because I know I'm going to share things the next 28 minutes that literally, if people go and follow my plan, it'll change their whole life financially.
I love it. And I love to see the energy and excitement still happening, like 25 years in on what you're doing. It really shows that you super care about what you're trying to do. Now you have an interesting concept called the latte factor, and you're writing a new book. And in the while we were in the green room, you showed me like a sneak peek of this new book coming out sometime next year. Tell us what the latte
worldwide exclusive here. Nobody else knows about this now except for you and everybody we're telling on YouTube. My agent hasn't even seen this yet.
I love it. I love the sneak peek. For people who don't know what the latte factor is, give us a quick summary. What is the latte factor?
All right. Well, so the story behind the latte factor goes back to me teaching one of my first classes. And I used to teach a 4-week class on money. And at the end of my 4-week class, as I'm wrapping up the class, getting ready for the big close, you know how that is, I had a young woman named Kim raise her hand and say, oh, sorry about that. That's my phone back there. But that's real life, right? I had a young woman saying to me, you know what, David, I can't do this. I can't pay myself first. I can't save money automatically. These are all great ideas in theory, but I can't do them. And so I was in a classroom literally with a chalkboard. And what I did was go, Kim, look, we've got 10 minutes left in the class. Let me prove to you that you can save $5 a day. Will you play the game with me? And then I asked the class, like, is it okay if we do this for Kim? And everybody was like, yeah, do it. So I walked up to a chalkboard and I started going through Kim's expenses. And remember, Kim had told me she couldn't save any money. She couldn't use her 401k plan. She worked at the Gap. She couldn't pay herself first. And as we're going through expenses, she's sipping a latte. And so I'm going through her expenses, and it wasn't just lattes. It was a bunch of other stuff. It was all the places she'd eaten out, and I'm writing all the stuff down on the chalkboard. And I start doing some basic math, and I go, look, Kim, you just need to save $10 a day. You're in your 20s. If you'll save $10 a day, you can be a millionaire by the time you reach retirement. And I calculated the number out for her, and it came out to like $1.7 million. And she sort of looked at me and she goes, are you trying to tell me my latte here is costing me over $1 million? And a woman in the front seat who was kind of aggravated turned around and went, that's exactly what he's trying to tell you. You have a latte factor. And, the class wrapped up and everybody was talking about it. And as I'm walking out of the room, I'm like, I should keep teaching this idea. And so the latte factor was born. And the latte factor is a metaphor. I'm not trying to take people's coffee away. It is a metaphor for, look, $5 to $10 a day could change your life. If you don't believe you can save, you'll never save. $1 a day is a start, right? So if you don't believe you can save, if you don't believe you have the money to be an investor, you'll never invest. And the latte factor is a metaphor to inspire people to realize you have more money than you think, you're richer than you think, and once you realize that, you'll start to take action, and that can change your whole life.
Got it. And for people already interested, when is this book going to come out, David? They want their advanced copies. What's happening?
Well, so the Latte Factor we're gonna go sell it in the next 90 days. Here's my dream with the Latte Factor. I've been wanting to write this book for 10 years. Literally, it's been a 10-year project. And I'm co-writing it with a gentleman named John Mann, who wrote this great book called The Go-Giver. And we're writing it as a parable because I want the book to translate all over the world. My goal, it's a little story, and it will hopefully translate all over the world so we can kind of create like the Who Moved My Cheese of personal finance. Before then, you can go out and get The Automatic Millionaire because that's what started it all. This book has done like almost 2 million copies now worldwide. I know you're in Canada. It's also translated for Canadians. Go read The Automatic Millionaire. We just put it out as a brand new edition. That book is available right now in stores. You can go to our website, davidbach.com. And here's the other book, Smart Couples Finish Rich. That's also been updated this year, just came out in January. So we got 2 books for you. You can see my little stickies in here because I've been working on the other book right now.
I like it. Well, guys, we have David for the next little bit. I want to get to some questions that you guys are having. If you tag me in the live stream, it's easy for me to see where your questions are. David, already some of the people are writing in about how do I balance my finances as an entrepreneur? People are worried they don't have enough money to put into their business. How do I also now save on top of it? Capital is one issue that comes up over and over and over again from people who are starting the business. Is it just a question of belief, or what do you recommend? Like, how do we take Latte Factor or Automatic Millionaire and apply it to an entrepreneur setting?
So I love speaking to entrepreneurs because I've basically been one my entire life, right? 25 years of being an entrepreneur. And I've been in an organization called, used to be called YEO. Now it's called EO, Entrepreneurs Organizations, all over the world. And I love when I go speak to EO events because I kind of get in a lot of my entrepreneur buddies' faces. And so I'm going to not try to get too much in your face, but here's what I tell my entrepreneur buddies, right? Like the biggest myth for most entrepreneurs is that they will work on their business and that they will someday sell it, and that will be their retirement money. And so, when you're building a business, I see so many entrepreneurs reinvesting all of their money in their business to grow, and the hopeful expectation that at some point they'll have an exit. And then the exit will be where their retirement and their financial security will come from. And for most entrepreneurs, the truth is that is a fantasy. It just is. I hate to tell you, but it's a fantasy. Most businesses rarely have exits, and they certainly rarely have exits for over $1 million. And we live in a world today where we're always reading about the $1 billion exit. I'm an investor in companies that are having $100 million exits, but they're the exception, not the rule. So what I tell entrepreneurs is you have to also think candidly like you would if you were an employee. And what that means is, like, if you're an employee, you're not going to have an exit. You know that if I don't use my 401k plan, I mean, who knows if Social Security is going to be, around in 50 years. If I don't save money in a retirement account, I'm never going to have any money. The problem for entrepreneurs is they don't think like that. And so like 75% of entrepreneurs today, most who are watching this show, actually don't have a retirement account. And they don't have a SEP IRA account, or where you are, it's an RSP or a 401k plan. I see entrepreneurs who set up 401k plans for their employees and they don't use them. So you have to be putting yourself first by paying yourself first. You have to. Now, if you're a smart entrepreneur and you have a lot of smart entrepreneurs watching this show who don't have employees, there are very specific things you can do. You can open up a solo 401k plan, for an example, in the US. Super simple plan where you can automatically be saving money. You can put up to $55,000 a year away in that plan, tax deductible. You can open a defined benefit plan, like in the Automatic Millionaire. This year, you can shield $220,000 tax deductible into a defined benefit plan. That's money that you literally like take it, put it away, don't pay taxes with the government. So entrepreneurs often are not taking advantage of those plans, and they should. The other thing I teach entrepreneurs is you got to buy the real estate that your business is in. Like my experience, I started my career at Morgan Stanley. My wealthiest clients became wealthy in many cases by accident because they bought the building that their business was in. And, you know, if you're going to be in an office space for 10 years, you could own the office potentially if you go out and make that a goal. And in 10, 15, 20 years, you own that real estate free and clear. If you sell the business someday, the person who buys the business can rent back from you. It's a great way to build wealth.
Should an entrepreneur ever cash out their retirement savings to grow or launch their business?
No, no. I mean, literally, I can't oversay that. Like, no, you shouldn't. And so many entrepreneurs do. It is a last resort place to get money. Now, I know it happens. Like in the recession, I saw a lot of my friends have to tap their retirement accounts. And in many cases, they're just kind of getting back to, you know, where they were before because they've now had they've had 9 years to rebuild it. But no, if you start, there's two things you really shouldn't do as an entrepreneur. Tap your 401k plan or your IRA account for multiple reasons. Number one, if you're not borrowing it out of your 401k plan, you're cashing it out, which means you're losing half of it to taxes and penalties. It's the most expensive money you can basically get. Like have $10,000, pull it out of your retirement account. Now you're down to $5,000. So that's not a good, and plus you've lost all the compound interest. So that's not a good thing to do. The other thing not a good thing to do is lines of credit. The bank is happy to give you lines of credit when the market's good, like now. You know, now that we're at an all-time high in the stock market and the real estate market and the economy, every day when I go downstairs and I grab my mail, there's an offer from somebody with an instant line of $100,000 line of credit. I must get 5 emails, not a day, but certainly a week of bankers reaching out to me to loan me money, including Goldman Sachs has emailed me 3 times in the last 7 days. So once you the economy is doing well, everybody will loan you money. What entrepreneurs do, though, which is a disaster, is when they start to live off that line of credit, even though they're like using it, then paying it down, using it, then paying it down. When the economy turns, and it does turn, that's where entrepreneurs get wiped out. And I saw a lot of my EO buddies go through a lot of pain in 2008, and 2009, and 2010. And I saw a lot of big businesses turn upside down, where things went like this. And then, by the way, what does the bank do? As soon as the economy slows down, and what does the bank do with that line of credit? They call it. And then you don't have the money to pay it. So, probably some people right now just went like, their stomach just went like that. But I'm telling you right now, with the economy in a very, very strong place that we are at right now, you need to be very careful about taking this money that seems free from the bank. Sorry, bankers.
I don't know how many bankers we have in here, but the ones who do want to start their own company. Darren is writing in to say, the question I have for David around the latte factor: are you saving $5 every day or every time you get paid? So what's the expectation?
Yeah. Well, $5, it's got to be at least $5 a day, right? Like every time, if you only saved $5 every time you got paid, you'd be saving $10 a month, which means you would be saving $120 a year. So no, that's not enough. Simple basic math. If you're making 50 grand a year, another way to think about this is if you save 1 hour a day of your income. That's what I teach people who have jobs, right? Like 1 hour a day of your income. If you make $50,000 a year, 1 hour a day of your income means you will save over $5,000 a year. 1 hour a day of your income. If you're going to work an 8, 9, 10 hour day, you should be keeping an hour a day of your income. And that's kind of like we were talking about the aha moment, right? Like, I always say you're going to work 90,000 hours over your lifetime. you should keep 1 hour a day of your income. Now, we know actually mathematically for a fact, when you look at self-made millionaires in 401k plans, the largest company that does this is Fidelity. They have over 100,000 millionaires in their 401k plans. And what they saved was 14% of their gross income, which is a little over an hour a day of your income. The average American today is saving less than 15 minutes a day of their income. So, but if you go back to the $10 a day, $10 a day is $300 a month. That's over $3,600 a year. You save that for decades. And by the time you got a lot of people watching this in their 20s. By the time you turn around in your 60s, you could have over $1 million in savings. Now, the pushback is people will say, oh, but $1 million in 40 years isn't going to be worth anything. It's going to be worth a whole lot more than zero, right? Like, right. It's right now, 1 out of 2 Americans can't get their hands on $400 in case of emergency purposes. That's the Federal Reserve statistic last year. 46.5% of Americans reportedly cannot get their hands on $400 in case of emergency purposes. Now, 5 million people will go to Starbucks probably today and have $5 lattes. So again, I'm not telling you can't have your latte, but I'm trying to show you that, we spend lots of money on little things. I'm drinking water right now as we talk, and it's free. But the water industry, when I started doing this, was $1 billion a year. The bottled water industry now is $15 billion a year, the bulk of which is tap water put in plastic bottles with great branding. So, water, cigarettes, you name it. Like, think through where are you spending the money and then redirect it to savings.
I like it. And take a sip of water, rest the voice. I like it. So some people are questioning the math and saying it's like it ends up being 5 figures in 50 years because they're not taking into account, obviously, you're investing it, right? So you put the money in, you're investing it. What kind of rate?
It's compound interest, right? So like here, I'll just literally look at the chart here. And I'm going to run this is a chart and I'll give you very specific numbers that are in the Automatic Millionaire. $10 a day in 1 year. It's $3,770 if you get a 10% rate of return. So let me quote the return for a second, then I'll explain that return. 10% is $3,770. You go out to 10 years, it's $61,000. You go out to 30 years, it's $678,000. You go out to 40 years, it's $1,897,224. Now, that's a hypothetical number, right? Like, you're not getting a guaranteed 10% rate of return anywhere. The stock market, however, since 1926, if you've just been in the market with reinvested dividends, has annualized out at 10% a year. Now, people go, oh, that you can't make 10%. Really, since 2009, since the bottom of the market's actually averaged 17% annually. Do I think it's a no-brainer to make 10%? No. You got to. I've got in the book. You can plug different numbers in. You don't believe 10%? Plug in 5%. But you have to plug it in. You have to run you can go Google anywhere, compound interest calculators, and run the number, and you can plug in your own numbers. The rate of return is not what people should get caught up on. What people should get caught up on is the amount of money they save. I wouldn't plug in a rate of return over 10%. I can tell you that what do pension plans do? All the largest pension plans in the world, their annualized rate of return, on average, their expectations that they've plugged in for all these government employees and all these corporations is about 8%. So, and that's a blended portfolio of stocks and bonds and cash. So you want to be conservative, plug in 8%. But you got to get the money saving in order to create the miracle of compound interest.
I like it. And Automatic Millionaire has a lot of those, the data, the stats. Like for anybody who wants to know the math, just go pick up the book. You'll learn it.
I can give you a couple apps too that people can use. Do you want me to give you a couple of resources?
Sure. You have your own or other resources?
Well, so I'll give you an app that's one of them is called Clarity Money. It's to me the best app that you can use right now to track where all your money's going. Because you sort of have to first see where your money's going to believe you can save the money. So claritymoney.com is an app's been out for about 2 years, one of the most popular apps in America. I don't know, it's not everywhere worldwide, but you can quickly track where everything's going. What I love about this app is that not only can you track where your money's going on a daily basis, but you can actually save right inside the app. I'm an investor and advisor, Clarity Money. Also an investor in another company called Acorns. Acorns is like basically taking the latte factor concept and made saving money automatically with as little as $1 a day. Super easy. And inside of the Clarity Money app, once you track where your money is going, you can basically click a button and start to have money saved automatically into Acorns. So the two sort of work nice and seamlessly together.
Great. Yeah, people are asking for the names again. So Clarity Money and Acorn.
Yep, Acorns, ACORNS.com. By the way, for millennials, it's the fastest growing financial service company in the world for millennials. There's over 3 million accounts now, I believe. It's just unbelievable. And it's because what Acorns did was take the latte factor and make it available to invest for everyone. Because the other thing I would get pushback on was, well, how do I invest $1 a day? Or how do I invest $5 a day? And Acorns does that. And again, in Clarity Money, you can do it right inside the app.
I like it. Zachary is writing in to say, David, what is your biggest piece of advice for a young college student in terms of managing our finances?
Young college student, boy, it's so much easier when you start when you're young. So like I have these charts in the book where I show, if you start when you're 19 and you save $2,000 a year and you save it from 19 to the age of 26 and you never save another dollar and you just let it compound and grow. And then I show somebody who starts at 26 and saves from 26 to 65. The 19-year-old that saved from 19 to 26 ends up with more money than the 26-year-old who saved to 65. So the biggest advice I can give you when you're young is to start young.